Let's move into our USC at Colorado. Um, so Colorado is fresh off of getting smoked last week. Um, it was kind of a wake up call, I think, but maybe not. I don't know. It seems like Colorado's kind of walking with the same swagger and doing a lot of the same things. But I do notice that a lot of the talking about the games has stopped. And I saw Travis Hunter, man. I know he's not playing, but we saw him on at halftime of the Oregon game. It's what 42 to nothing or 35 to nothing, something like that at halftime, and he's at home playing 2K basketball on the video games and and streaming it for everybody to see. And I saw him today out there streaming in some dinosaur pajamas from his house, uh, talking about Oregon and talking about the Colorado haters that are out there. And I just want to say, I don't do you know of anybody that hates Colorado other than the head coaches?
Yeah.
Cuz that's excuse me. I know that these head coaches hate Colorado and the way that they're doing things, and I totally understand, it's kind of an old heads environment, guys that are lifer football coaches coaching these big programs, and here comes this guy that's hardly done it at this level, and he's talking a bunch of bull junk, and uh so I know the coaches hate it, but who's hating on Colorado? I don't even understand. I feel like everybody's giving love to Colorado. I know we have when it was due. But as we talked about last week, it's over. This this 2 week stretch of Oregon and USC, there ain't a shot in the dark that Colorado is going to even have a chance in this game. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. And that's exactly why one of my best bets of the week is USC. And I actually locked it in at minus 23, but it's down to minus 21 and a half. I'm doing the same thing I did last week at Oregon. The line last week with Oregon was 21. So I'm taking the 21 and a half, and I'm not going to sweat it. I know I'm not going to sweat it. And I'll tell you why. Colorado's inability to run the football is what's going to do them in most of these games. And if that doesn't do it, it's going to be the inability to stop the run in these games. Marshawn Lloyd is about to run around like a wild man on this defense, and it's going to be very entertaining. I'm between Marshawn Lloyd and Austin Jones on this offense. They're gonna tear Colorado up. And I wouldn't be surprised if USC didn't line up and just let those guys get their carries. I know Caleb Williams will get his yards, but they're gonna run the ball, I think, this weekend. And I think it will be to the detriment of the Colorado Buffs. And I think USC covers. What do you think about this one, Mason?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I'm taking USC to cover at 21 and a half. I do have to say real quick, though, I am actually taking on the last game, Utah and Oregon State under 44 and a half, just for the record. I had that down in my notes. I did not refer to my notes, but I am taking both the Utah to cover plus 3.5 over Oregon State and under 44 and a half.
We agree.
All right. Moving on to USC. I'm with you on that. So I'm taking USC minus 21 and a half. But yeah, you break this down, right? Um, break down the this game here and break down the stats that we're getting loaded up for you now. And I just see a complete offensive overhaul kind of happening, right? And I think that they're just going to bully Colorado's defense. I mean, you look at Colorado; they're one of the worst defensive teams in the country. If you really, um, you know, break it down in the FBS at least, right? They're one of the worst teams against really the best offense in the country.
Yeah.
Right? It couldn't really be more lopsided when USC takes the field and has possession of the ball. On the other side, USC, their defense is kind of a little bit better than it was, I would say. They're really good at sacking the quarterback. They've got 16 sacks on the year.
Yeah.
That's good for third in the country. But But outside of that, I don't think that there are really many stats that you look at and go, "Wow, they scare me in that category." They're kind of middle of
Yeah.
the pack everywhere else, which might be okay when you're the best quarter, or when you're the best. Well, you have the best quarterback in the country, but when you're the best offense in the country, that might be okay. It's certainly going to be enough to get past Colorado. And when it comes to the betting line, I think it's really going to be enough to get, to score more than 21 and a half points than Colorado's able to score. So I think that's a pretty easy pick. When it comes to the over under at 73 and a half, I kind of want to stay away from that because I'm not sure
Yeah.
what Colorado is going to be able to do offensively. I think that they're going to be able to put up about 24, 27 points against USC's defense. Again, kind of middle of the pack, right, when it comes to defense. And look, Colorado is really good at passing. They're fifth in the country in passing offense. And, Shador Sanders is still a really good quarterback in my eyes, but it ran into a defense that's sound and a sound overall football team that kind of took possessions away from him and really did a good job of limiting him, knowing that that was their main way of scoring points. So I don't think that USC has the secondary to do it. If they're able to get 5 sacks in this game, I think that they could really shut down Colorado. And I'm not putting it past them to do it. I mean, Colorado is, I think they were like next to last in sacks allowed at 23. You see on your screen, they're 132nd, but 23 sacks allowed.
Yikes.
Doesn't look good on paper with this USC pass rush and what they've been able to do. So maybe if USC can shut Colorado down enough, you take the under. I would stay away from the over under on this game. I think that they're giving you USC at minus 21 and a half. I think there's still some money coming in on Colorado and people kind of, I guess, supporting Colorado in that way.
When I
which is
locked
weird.
this one up earlier in the week, it was minus 23.
Yeah.
And that's what I bet on. So it's gone down to 21 and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, that just blows my mind. But anybody who bets a lot will tell you that they typically don't like to bet with the public. So that only makes me feel better
Yeah.
about what I'm doing. I think 56-28 is a pretty good score for this game,
Yeah.
and would result in a USC cover, which I believe is going to happen.
Right. Right. Yeah, I totally agree. And you know, I do look at this and I wonder. I mean, is Colorado really going to be able? I guess what I'm curious to know is how does Colorado bounce back? Right, we saw them struggle against Oregon. This isn't the same team as Oregon. Oregon's very balanced, right? USC is lopsided,
Yeah.
but can they get the offense going? Right, if they score more than 30 points, I would say that's a success. Even against USC, I would say that that's pretty
Yeah.
successful. Given that they still don't have Travis Hunter, and they kind of need to bounce back. Now it is going to be a home environment for Colorado. Maybe that helps them out a little bit, but ultimately, I think that 21 and a half points for USC is the play here.
I still believe, thinking about it too, I think this might be, even though it is USC, it might be the best defense that Colorado's played this year. I mean, if you really think about it, Colorado State, Nebraska, TCU looked god awful in that first game. We know they lost a ton of talent defensively, and that was their first game after losing said talent. So this might, I mean, at least the front line of the USC defense, it might be the best front seven that they've seen.
Okay. Yeah, I would say the best defensive line specifically,
Yeah.
like just that unit.
Yeah.
But I do
I mean,
like the,
who's Nebraska maybe better? Maybe.
but I mean, are you saying outside of Oregon or?
Well, outside of Oregon.
Okay,
I was talking about those first 3 games, which is where all these stats came from.
Gotcha.
I think these stats are still settling here, and it's not just Colorado; it's USC as well. I think these stats are still settling, and as Colorado faces better opponents, I believe the offensive numbers will settle down a bit. Even scoring offense and averages and things like that. That's going to be one to watch, and everybody's going to be watching it. More people were watching the USC or the Oregon Colorado game last week, then watched the Notre Dame
Yeah, I believe
and
it.
Ohio State game.
I believe it.
One of them rated a 5.3 for the night, and the other one rated a 5.0 Notre Dame game.
Mm.
And anything over 5 is huge,
Right.
apparently. But that was pretty amazing to me, that many people are tuned in to this Colorado situation. All eyes will be on Colorado again this week, and my eyes will be on it too because I got a little dough on the game.